a deposit of Kenya shillings 13,653,660. That is in cash. That was deposited into the account. And you can see 537,150. That was the pay bill money. That the pay bill was tied to this account. And you can see also 266,361. That money was sent by a businessman in Kericho who supported the family. And we have the 51,000 and 51 again. If you add all that money, it brings a total of 14 million and some amount on top. Now, you can see transaction began from date 11 of July. So this account was existing, but the county decided to use this account. So the transaction is where we are beginning from down there, where withdrawals were done. I want to believe I've explained. And so Senator Muma, accountability to the Assembly. Of course, the executive is accountable to the Assembly through the CECs appointed by the governor. But then, I want to, Mr. Speaker, you know this governor has history for not implementing any single report. The Kazim Tani report was tabled, not a single implementation was done by the executive. The Londiani accident victims, even Senator Boni Halwale, the families who perished from Western, the committee members paid a visit to Western, to the families, to confirm. The county government of Kericho paid 90,000 to those who we lost and 60,000 to the families who survived. But then, out of the 14 million, the national government, through the Ministry of Treasury, gave 300,000 to every family that lost their loved ones, and 200,000 for the families of those, the survivors could be traced. Now, the county government, raising merely 14 million, could not disperse the entire 14 million to the families. And the governor himself committed to doing so. I can tell you it is up to this House to establish whether the 9 million the governor will account, and said he dispersed later on, because what we can trace is only 4.8 million. Senator Tobiko, MCS who voted for the motion are 33, and that is why we are here, because we met the threshold. Tabitha, if you see, being the mover of the motion, I was seated in front. I want to believe if that video will have an opportunity to be played. And I sat throughout the motion until it ended. And I had only one phone in my hand and only one link. So I didn't vote for anybody. And anybody who claims that I voted for, I saw a ruling done by the Speaker that later on there is an independent audit that will be carried out on that system. It will reveal if through my phone I voted for two people or for myself alone. Otherwise, we can account for the 33 who voted. And so that they don't take you around. We already have one who's sworn affidavit that I voted. And initially, the governor had taken her to Kisumu, hid her for more than 3 days, but she sneaked. And she was able to testify that she voted. We only need the other 3 to confirm they voted. So there was a breakdown by Senator Tabitha. Actually, if you look at my affidavit in volume 2, when you get your time, I was able to break down the entire payment. The 423 was meant to be paid fictitiously to some spending. The 411 that you can find somehow later on was paid to Supertix. These are the people who are not meant to receive this amount. In fact, the governor said the county is not broke. This county is rich. And again, he instructed the same committee to make payments for the expenditure that was never meant to. This one we can prove. And even despite the fact that we came up with this report, he never acted on the report. Senator Mariam, Brian Langat was fired by the governor as the CEC. And if you check the grounds under which the governor fired the 6 CECs was failing to adhere to they talked about executive orders. Executive order 1 of 2022, 1 of 23, 1 of 24. If you look at the executive orders, is failing to adhere or to go to wherever they were posted to. Now, you cannot tie Brian to the incident of Londiani in that firing spree. And we realized Brian is a very young man who had a future. Before he was picked as an executive, he was the legal officer in the assembly. So when an opportunity was advertised in the assembly, he applied. And he was competitively sourced. He is now the deputy director, legal services. We feel Brian was not fired for lack of or for committing any offense. Senator Onyonga, it is true, your standing orders and ours, we are trying to improve as a county because we felt if we continue using manual, I remember the only assembly that we are still using the assembly that was used by the defunct local authorities. And there is one that we are building. Once we have a modern assembly like this, I want to believe we'll be having gadgets like this. And it will be easier for us to vote, and the results will be seen within a minute.
Mheshimiwa, you have 2 minutes to go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senator Nyamo, we've never used electronic voting before because we've never had a matter as of great importance as this one. So we had to use on this one because it is a decisive vote. And it doesn't mean that we used it so that we get the requisite numbers. I want to believe the IT officer has explained, in case of any malpractice or in case of any failure, I want to believe there was a way we were going to address that. Senator Boni, yes, from the council, Ongoya, of course he painted governor as a bad man. And if we had an opportunity of playing most of those clips, the governor is a man of doublespeak. When the report on fictitious came out, he referred to the same MCS he had faith in as contractors. But before then, he said, I have faith in this MCS, looking into the matter. When the matter came up, he talked about them. In fact, the shocking thing, the ad hoc committee that was looking into Londiani incident, the governor in broad daylight and in public referred to them as funeral committee. This is an ad hoc committee composed of honorable members. When you publicly refer them as funeral committee, it is up to this house to find this is not a good governor, but likely to be a bad one. Senator Mungatana, actually, the composition of the committee that was spearheading the distribution of this money was co-chaired by the county commissioner. 90% of the committee members were appointed by the governor, and the officers, he supervises them. So this county commissioner had no role in that committee, despite the fact that he was a co-chair. I want to believe other things that was raised about the voting have been able to, the officer before has deliberated on. Senator Abbas, governor is the CEO of the county. And as I said, any misuse of funds that we've witnessed, we tied the governor to that because pursuant to County Governments Act, Section 30, and Article 179(4) of the Constitution, the governor bears the greatest responsibility in the manner in which our resources are misused. So the others, Mr. Speaker, issues of voting, we will, under your directive, we will be getting the real results. But I want to beseech this House, when the time comes for voting, please consider the issues of Kericho. It is not one. There are so many grounds, including the haphazard dismissal of staff by the governor. There is one CEC who was dismissed in 2023, a very young man, who went to school in a village, school, scored the best grade, came to Kenyatta University, was working for the Water Trust Fund. But the governor, by a mere text, he was dismissed. This is a governor who should learn that when you're given opportunity, you need to act according to Article 75 of the Constitution, conduct of the state officers, so that the governor should know being a governor of a county like Kericho does not mean you're above the law and you can do anything as you think. It is up to the Senate to decide on behalf of the people of Kericho.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Thank you. Now that the yes, Counsel for the County Assembly, you have something to say?
Yes,
Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, sir, you will recall that at the close of our case, I had intimated that I would be making a very quick application. At the end of our examination in chief yesterday, we were told by the Senate that they reserved the interrogation of our first witness, Mr. Geoffrey Bett. We still wanted to have that clarification whether he's still needed because we still have him around. He's one of the witnesses that is living with disability, so we wanted to have that clarification first. And second, and related to the issue, at the end of his testimony yesterday, the said witness made an application for protection, not just on his physical attack, but even against bullying on social media. He has brought to my attention an incident that went against the request that he had made, that yesterday through a Facebook post by one Joan Chepkrui, whose Facebook name is Joan Kaku, alias Nadia, wrote the following words: Kiwete anataka kuhurumiwa na 80 million ilipotea department yake. That comment was shared in another Facebook page, that is Philip Mugo's Foundation. That specific lady, Joan Chepkrui, has been cited sitting at the Speaker's Gallery or the public gallery. In fact, she has taken lunch at the Senate yesterday and today, and therefore the simple request from Mr. Geoffrey is for stern action to be taken against that particular person who is still within the Senate's precincts. I'll usher in my senior to also make a comment on the same.
Mr. Speaker, the most important thing for us is that the maker of that post is within these precincts, and the witness says that as he sat here, that lady was among the people sitting in the gallery just above your head, and that lady has eaten lunch with us in the Senate precincts, and he knows her personally because she's a neighbor from home, and she's a known blogger for the governor in Kericho County. Those are the instructions that we have. We think that those words that Mr. Mutuma has read are not only demeaning, but they humiliate a witness of that nature who was here, spoke his voice, spoke about this being a healing process for him. That humiliation damages his healing by far. We'll direct, Mr. Speaker, that if that witness is still within these precincts, because coincidentally for us on her page, she took some photos with some senators and had not named names, meaning she has been here. We have been shown photos taken yesterday with some senators in this precinct, validating the fact that she is within this precinct, and therefore stern action is necessary. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Counsel for the County Assembly. Counsel for the Governor, just have a seat. The Senate can only do what is within its powers. To the first limb of your request as to whether the Senate wishes to engage further with the witness, the answer is no. To the second request, I was made to understand that yesterday the witness did ask for arrangements to be made so that he feels secure when he goes back home. We can only relay that information to the IG, that the witness, as he goes back home, he doesn't suffer any insecurities as a result of having appeared before the Senate. On the third one, on the social media post, as a Senate, we are not in a position to control what goes into social media or not. Now, Counsel for the County Assembly, since you've identified the culprit, you know exactly the remedies that are available to the witness. Kindly pursue them so that that particular person who posted that derogatory post is punished pursuant to the law. However, I will add one thing to the members of public. We are here on a very serious matter. And no member of public, no the parties involved in this particular case, or even the senators, are allowed to intimidate any witness. That post is an intimidation of a witness. And therefore, be warned, whoever did that, because the reason why I told the council for the governor to sit down is we're going to degenerate into a hand-pecking exercise. My client has been mentioned, I need to say this. We will run all the way without finding a stop down the line. So a stern warning from the Senate is no member of public should aim derogatory remarks to the witnesses that appear before us. If you do, then as I've already advised counsel for the county assembly, you have a smorgasbord of remedies available to you. Ours is to give that stern warning. And should it persist, then we will, at an appropriate time, ask that member, if they're in this house, to withdraw from the precincts of parliament, because that particular behavior cannot be tolerated while these proceedings are ongoing. Senator for Nairobi City County.
Speaker, at the very minimum, because according to the rules, everybody who is in the gallery sits there at the pleasure of the Speaker. And if it is possible for the team from the County Assembly to point out to the Sergeant-at-Arms who that person is, I think it would be proper, because of the disrespect that has been shown to the process, that that person be removed from the precincts of Parliament. I want the team from the County Assembly to know that it is very difficult, as the Speaker has said, to control what people say on social media. Yesterday, some of the witnesses asked to take photos with me outside there, Honorable Speaker. And I've seen posts from Kericho saying that a bevy of young women has been deployed to confuse me. No, it is a bad thing because, Honorable Speaker, I personally consider myself public property, so that if somebody asks to take a photo with me, I cannot say no. But then they are going to insinuate that these young ladies were somehow deployed as a force to cause confusion, so that when we vote, we might not vote on the issues. But Speaker, this specific person, if can be identified by the Council for the Assembly, I think it would only be fair and proper that for this particular case they be ejected from the precincts of Parliament. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Sifuna, I thank you for your piece of wisdom. But you see, the biggest problem will be the identification using that post. If I had the counsel for the county assembly well, is that that post is traceable to somebody known to the governor. So it is a process, because the name given in that post, if I understood it correctly, it is not the official name that that particular person uses. So you need then the very same people the IT people, to get that pseudo account, because it's using a different name, different from the person who is allegedly seated with us. So for us to be convinced that particular post and that name actually refers to the same and one person as the one seated here, it's another process. And that's why I'm saying it is very difficult for us. And the only thing we can do is to issue that stern warning. Assuming that pseudonym refers to the person you are referring to, then may that person be warned that we cannot tolerate that kind of behavior in the Senate. We may now proceed we have concluded the case for the County Assembly. We will now move to hear the case for the Governor. Now, Governor, you have 5 hours to prosecute your case. Those hours are distributed as follows. 3 hours will be preserved for the Governor and his witnesses, and 2 hours will be allocated to the team from the County Assembly for purposes of cross-examination. The time taken by the senators for seeking clarification and questions, that is not part of the 5 hours that we have just apportioned between the two teams. Now, honorable senators, the Senate will rise at exactly midnight tonight. So we hope to conclude the case of the Governor before we rise at midnight. And then we shall resume tomorrow for purposes of deliberating and voting. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I thought these proceedings were gazetted for 3 days. What's the point of us sitting here until midnight?
Because the second day ends at midnight.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to beseech you, because we only have 5 hours for the Governor's case or response, and then I think a couple of hours for the other party and also the Governor to be able to conclude the matter. For us to rise at 6:30, it's only healthy. And then we come back tomorrow when we are fresh, at 9 in the morning, and then we deal with this matter and prosecute it. I think it's only fair, Mr. Speaker. Yeah.
Yes, Senator for Nairobi City.
Speaker, just referencing the Gazette notice for these special sittings that the Minority Whip has spoken to, we gazetted for 3 days, and I might be missing some commas in this communication, but it is only in respect of Friday that there was expression that we will only, the session will run commencing at 9 a.m. until the conclusion of the business of the day. So, Speaker, there is enough time tomorrow morning. I'm sure if we did, how many hours are left? 1.5 hours today, and then morning as well. I can, as whip, commit on behalf of at least the minority that we'll be here at 9 a.m. sharp, so that we are able to conclude the Governor's case by around 11 or 12. And then we will have time to deliberate and make a vote. At least tomorrow we know we are here until the matter is concluded. So, Honorable Speaker, with kind indulgence, with humility, which is, a rare trait for some of us, we are we are learning. So please, just reconsider, because my understanding of the Gazette is as such.
Now, honorable senators, let's see how far our batteries take us. If they run low at 6:30, we're human beings, we shall abide. But let's see how far our batteries will take us. Let's proceed.